Good morning, everybody. Late stream today. We've had quite a move. What happened today in Nasdaq? What happened today in Nasdaq? I took a few trades in the morning. I'm up on my funded accounts. Very small. I'm up about 230, $260 on my funded accounts. Taking it slow, taking it day by day. Don't want to go too strong. So what happened here? What a crazy rally and then just an automatic sell-off. What the heck happened? Let's take a look at the footprint the moment this sell-off happened. So I discussed on yesterday's stream that the type of breakouts that you want to take are the P profile breakouts. And so, funny enough, I was looking at the structure earlier in the morning before I took my long trade. It was this little structure here. So essentially what ended up happening is that we rallied, we broke out of the IB high, the initial balance high at about 954. That was a very, very strong rally. You can see that we were building volume. Let me take out my pen here. Apologies for that. Let me take this out. So we're talking about this breakout right here. Let's analyze exactly what happened. Okay. Consolidating in this area, building some volume, building some time. You see that we have a lot of red delta. So the funny part is that we had this big red delta on 4K volume on this rotation that was absorbed and that got rejected straight away. So you had buyers absorbing the selling all day, all morning. And then it was at this point where we broke out. If you want to put a sort of trend line here on this rotation, it was at this point that we broke out. I want to note a couple of things here. We had incredibly high volume on this breakout, which is what we needed. So I did not like this sort of structure over here, because as you know, what I did like was this structure here. I liked this area of very, very, very high volume. This was at around 1320 in terms of price. You can tell. So what ended up happening here is that everybody who was stuck short over here had to unwind their positions. They got trapped around here. They never saw their price come down, right? They never had the opportunity to scratch their trades, and the buying continued, right? So it was around this volume where you see a P shape over here. If you want, you can go long at this area. You put your stop somewhere around here, right? Because you don't want this to curl back down, especially when you're building volume up here. Because if you're building volume up here and you start to curl back down, then these guys who are long here are going to want to start to cover or liquidate down here. And that's when you get a move back down. So you can go long somewhere around 13004 to play for the breakup. Okay. Why does this keep happening? And so this, if you want to look at this on a profile, if I showed you what the profile looked like, let me see if I can do that right now. Hold on, I'm just going to change my volume by profile settings to show you what this profile on the left looked like in the morning at the time of this breakout. Multiple profiles. Okay, so let's move this around the time of the breakout. Can I even do that? No, I can't. Let's change this back. Visible bars. Why is it not working? Let's do this actually from the start of the day. I do want to take the short actually that's happening right now, but we're not going to chase. So it was around this point right here, if you can see. I'm going to remove this. Let's draw this out for you. We'll close this. We built a lot of volume down here. We created an area of low volume relative to the amount of volume that was down here. And then we started building an incredible amount of volume. So if you want to consider this at the breakout a P shape, right? A P shape. What I mean by P shape is you have this breakout on low volume, and then you consolidate and you build volume. Typically, these P shapes are very, very bullish, and you have a breakout to the upside afterwards. So if you want to consider this breakout as a P, right, and you're looking for that continuation up, and that's where I took that trade today. So let's go back to this. Consider this the P shape, right? We saw that. I'm going to go back and change the settings on my studies. You guys can't see what I'm doing on my screen right now because I have it on for whatever reason my stream program won't show my settings screen, but I'm just going to change my settings to what they were before. There you go. This is a volume profile on the day. So this is an incredibly bearish scenario, one that I always like to take. When you have an initial balance over here, all right, this is a 10-minute initial balance. When you have a one-to-one extension, this is the one-to-one extension that I have automatically set, these dotted lines. A one-to-one extension just means you take the distance between the IB high, the IB low, and then you extend it to the upside and to the low side. When you get a one-to-one extension, okay, and you come all the way back down to test the initial balance, the probability of going from the initial balance high to the initial balance low increases significantly. I don't know the exact numbers, but I can show you many scenarios where when you get a test, two things happen. Either this becomes the support for a push higher, or if this support breaks, you can take this short and ride it all the way down to the initial balance low, which is today, the IB range is 47.5 points. So we came down, we got rejected. I predict that this zone 1330 would be a great zone to short because you have a pocket of low volume. Let's do this. Let's put some short orders over here around 1330, and then we'll do 1335 just in case here, just in case you want to touch VWAP and come back down. That's going to be my trade right now. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. No problemo. So let's analyze the second breakout right now. There were two things that could have happened in this scenario, obviously, right? There's always two things that can happen in trading. We either go up or we either go down. But we started creating this ledge right here. If you want to call this a triangle, a wedge, whatever, I call this a ledge based on how I view profiles. And I want to bring this to your attention. I created this little consolidation box, which is what you see over here on the footprint. This box right here, I created this on the footprint to try to give me an inside view of what's going on. So this, like I said, this can be considered as one big P. All this can be considered as one big P. Low volume, and then you start to build volume. The way this can be played out is very simple. You have two choices. All right. If you believe that the market's going to go up, what you do, you go long somewhere in this P. You put your stop below this. Unfortunately, in this case, you would have gotten stopped out. But because we're trading Nasdaq, I don't like to go very accurate on my stops. I like to put my stops a little bit below. So somewhere around here, I'm going to zoom in here because I don't think you guys can see this very clearly. I apologize. I'm going to zoom in here. So if you look at this, if you look at the structure over here on this one rotation, this massive up bar, massive rotation bar, you see this volume node? This is where you would want to put your stop, below this volume node. Forget this rectangle box, but you want to put it below the second highest or the highest volume node. I wouldn't consider this a volume node. This was just quite choppy. And then if you want to look at it, this is all one big volume node, right? If this was one rotation, technically there would be a massive amount of volume over here, okay? But because whatever, we started rotating here, you're not going to see this. So you'd want to put it somewhere down here. This would be your ideal stop, right? You want to enter anywhere over here. You put your stop down here. You could also start entering in here, but typically you don't get tests down here, which is why I wouldn't have expected price to come back down. But you put the stop here right below this volume node because you know that down here there's no volume. So you know that if you come build all this volume, if you start to build all this volume at highs and you start to curl down below where there's no volume, what you're going to get is you're going to get a lot of people up here that are trapped. And these people who are trapped are going to want to get out of their trades. So that's why you'll have a sort of reversal that will happen. And it could be an aggressive reversal. Or it could be the type of reversal where you get people stopped out, we come back up. These guys get more of a chance to get out of their trades, so you come back down. Come back up. These guys get more of a chance to come out of their trades. You come back down. And so then you get this little drift lower, and then at some point it just collapses. So that's how you can play it, right? You go along somewhere here, you put your stop down there. Or if you're a bit bearish on the day, right? If you think that this market is going down, you can go short up here, and then you have a very, very tight stop, right? You go short here, and this consolidation, you know that if you break this, that's no good. There are a lot of people that are trapped that are just going to fuel this market higher, and you don't want to be on that side. You don't want to be short there. And that's what happened, right? Because if you went short here and you started breaking to the upside, you would have gotten stopped. You would have seen price come down. You might chase, right? You might want to start chasing, so you start selling a bit more. And then as you see price go back up, you get stopped out again, and then we fuel to the upside. But the structure that I also liked that I saw when I went long was this little, this trend line, this down trend line that broke, right? I like the fact that we created this sort of flag. We broke this trend line, we tested it, and then we shot back up. We shot straight up. So these are the ways that you can trade breakouts on a footprint. You want to see the type of structure that will indicate that there's volume building at highs and that there's room to go further. You want to see this breakout. Let's just say here is your level. You want to see price break out of this level, create volume, and you get this ledge down here. You don't want to see price come back down below this ledge. Okay, you don't. Because what you might get is you might get a bounce off of here because you have a lot of shorts that could still be trapped that will buy to scratch. You come back here, then you have a lot of traders over here that could be trapped and that want to sell. You get this. So you don't want that choppiness. You just don't. For breakout trades, when you trade a breakout, you want it to go like this, right? Choppiness is no good for breakouts. And that's what happened. Now let's analyze a little bit about what happened up here. Why did this fail? Why did this fail? I want to see what the volume profile, actually, let's see if we can just change this rotation to 120 PNF. Look at this. This failed because you didn't get a P shape. I would not consider this a P shape profile. We know, I've spoken yesterday about this. We went and we analyzed a few footprints of failed breakouts about what happens. So just take a look at this, guys. All right, and I think I'm going to make a separate video about this. I'm not going to stream this live, and I will make a separate video about this. But I want you guys to take a look at this. This is very, very key. This was the first breakout over here. This was the first breakout. You see very low volume, very high delta, all delta. Nobody's selling in these areas. Everybody's buying because you have a lot of people that are stopped out, a lot of people that are chasing the market, right? And then you get this consolidation, this massive, massive P. Massive P. Very interesting to note the types of profiles, the types of structure that you want to see. You want to see heavy negative delta on the bottom, and you want to see heavy positive delta on the top half of these types of profiles. Why? Because of absorption by buyers. You want to see, after breakout, you want to see buyers absorbing sell orders. Okay, so when you have sellers hitting the bid, right, they're hitting the bid over here. Very heavy negative delta. Negative delta means market orders hitting the bid. These are sell market orders. Okay, so you have people that are aggressively selling up here, and when you're aggressively selling at highs and you don't see price go any lower, okay, this is absorption by buyers. Buyers are putting their limit orders higher and higher and higher. They're providing liquidity at higher prices. Okay, and you also have continued buying at highs. So think about this. You're at the high and you have more buying at the high, more aggressive buying at the high, and you have more passive buying at the high. Okay? So that's what you want to see. You want to see this type of P-shaped profile. The delta is split like this, negative delta at the bottom, positive delta at the top, right? And you kind of get that throughout this whole rotation a little bit, but this is where you want to focus a lot of your attention, is around this area, this structure right here. Okay? Because what tends to happen is that guys who are shorting here, okay, as soon as they see price go up, they start to panic, right? Come back down. You see this? You create a ledge right here. Okay, maybe here as well. You create a ledge like this. You know exactly where you're wrong. You don't want to see price go down here. This is a beautiful risk to reward ratio. Great setup. These are one of my favorite setups. So look at the profile. All right, I want you guys to take a look at the profile, the footprint here. Compare this, very, very consolidated P. Okay, the range of this P is about let's do a little test here. Okay, where is this price chart calculator? The range of this is about here, and the range of this is here. So this is about 30 points, as you can see. I'm going to draw it. PD is point difference. That's a 30-point difference, 23-point difference. Okay, very consolidated zone of volume. Whereas over here, it's more wider. It's a lot wider. So a lot of these failed breakouts have this type of structure. The thing about this is, though, you can still consider this a P simply because there's low volume. You can look at this as a P. Any type of breakout, you want to see low volume, and then you want to see a concerted or a concentrated amount of volume, right? So I wouldn't blame anybody if they went long in hopes for another breakout, because this can be very tricky. Okay, but you can see that the probability of this trade right here working out versus this trade is a lot lower, simply because of the way these profiles are built out. But then again, trading is never about being 100% right. You're taking the best guess or the most educated guess based on what you're seeing. Okay, and then if you're not very confident in these types of trades, if you're not very confident when you look at a profile like this and you still want to go long and you're not so confident because of the structure, then you don't go in full size. Two things you do: either you go in with half size or you just don't take the trade, right? But you need to know where you're wrong and you need to know why you're wrong, and that's the most important thing. You should not be holding a trade like this unless you have different rules, unless you have different expectations. Because you could have the expectation that you create this little box here. You can have the expectation that, yes, I will go long somewhere over here, but I expect the price to come down here, and then I expect it to bounce off based off of this high volume node. That's totally valid. That's a very, very good trade. I think it's a very good trade. It's a very good expectation to have. But you need to know that below this zone, it's wrong. Right? At this point, you're totally wrong. If you have a larger account and you want to hold this trade for longer, this is where you're wrong. If you're intraday trading, this is where you're wrong, for sure. Let's take a look at what happened. We never even got a pullback. We never even got a single pullback. The only pullback that we got was around this area here, between 43 and 65, somewhere around here. We got this pullback because of all these people that are trapped. Right? You have sellers that are trapped, that are buying at this point to scratch their trade. You have people that are adding on to their trade. So you get this very slight pullback, but this pullback is really not enough at all. This we didn't even spend much time here. You know what I'm saying? Like, normally, if you spend a lot of time, then you can argue that, yeah, we might go back up. But the fact is that we came in, we barely spent any time here, and we came straight back down. And this is what you want to see. You want to see for the downside. Now I'm not liking this trade currently, but I'm gonna keep monitoring this, and I'll tell you guys why. You get this breakout, you get a B profile, not the biggest of Bs, but there's a significant amount of volume here because technically speaking, up here you have people that are trapped still. Right, so if we come in, we test this area, guys who are trapped up here are going to start to panic. Well, not even panic, sorry. Guys who are trapped over here are going to want to get out of their trades. So you got to bounce like this and you come back down. But the more time and volume that we spend here, right, if you want to create a ledge based off of here, this is technically where you can be wrong. Now, the same is true for the opposite side. We're going to do it for this side. You can still take a trade where you go short around here and you're waiting for the test of this so that you come back down. And then here is where you'll typically be wrong. This is where your stop should be, somewhere around 60s, 63s. So I don't want to see this. So I did expect VWAP to be tested at the very least. This volume area right here, you can see. This low volume area right here. Oh, no. This low volume area would act as a sort of resistance, because if price really wanted to go higher, it would trade. But the fact is that there's low volume. You expect price to get rejected off low volume because there's no interest to trade around these prices, right? So if we go above this, then you get stopped out and you might want to enter your short over here, because technically speaking, if we go above this, the probability of it reaching VPOC is very, very high. Very high. So why do you want to hold all the way up here? Now we're creating low volume, right? If we continue to break above here, 47, I think I want to get out of this trade. I'm expecting, or I'm hoping at least, for price to curl right back down to 35s. 38, 39, price to curl back down, and then we continue lower. But this type of slow grind up on a low volume zone is dangerous. Let's continue to monitor the trade. You don't want to create a price gap where there's no volume, because that's what you want to do on a breakout. On a breakout, you want to create a price gap of low volume. But if you have volume that's spread across this whole rotation, the chances of a failed breakout or a failed move up becomes more likely. So that's what you want to see. You want to see us come down, build more volume. You don't want to see this gap of, low volume. The orders have slowed down a little bit, but we're filling this gap though. You see, we're trying to fill this gap with volume. If we start to continue above, then I think we can at least test 62s. I don't want that. I want us to maybe fill this gap, get rejected, and come back down. Satisfy the need to transact, and then once we're satisfied, we continue lower. At the end of the day, if we do this, this is more than a 61% retracement. Let's take a look. From here at 9:48 to 10:42, that's about an hour. From 10:42 to 11:24, that's about 30, 35 minutes, maybe 40. So the time it took us to go up was a lot longer than the time it took us to go down. Not necessarily, because we still have a lot more to go if we want to do a full 100% retracement. But if this move had any legs to it, my theory, right? Obviously, these are all theories. But if this move had any actual legs to it, you want to see 38 being defended. You want to see 50% being defended, right? You want to see this move have a strength behind it to continue to rally. Let's do a price retracement from here down to here. Now, if you want this move to have any strength to it, you want to see the 38% be rejected, which is kind of what just happened. I mean, if you think about it, right? But you don't want the 38% to get tested and then go back up to the 50%. Because if the 38% goes back, if we break above 47 again, in the sense like if we make higher highs from this rotation, I think I'm gonna have to get stopped out of my trade. I don't like those odds, because the probability of us when we make a higher high, reach the POC, reach 50%, I don't want to put myself in a position where I'm hoping that the 50% holds. Try to manage this trade. This is a big rejection over here, but we're still onto this. Oh wait, but we do have a, let's do a 1 to 10 PNF. Let's take a look at what's happening here on this rotation. Thicker line, we can draw the same thing over here. We definitely want to push above though. This line has been holding the whole time. But when the line holds like this, test it many, many times, as soon as we get a break of this line, it's capitulation. I'm wondering if this is not a trap for buyers. POC has shifted down on the ES. POC is still above the IB high though on ES. The point of control is still up here on the Nasdaq. We want to see the point of control go down. We've seen it happen on ES. We haven't seen it happen on Nasdaq. Doesn't seem to me like we're going to get the point of control shift down right here. I think the best chance of it shifting down would be maybe here if we start to build more volume, or we come back down here. If we come back down to the first or the old point of control down to 12,986. It would be very interesting. That would be a huge trade if that happens. It all depends on what happens over here. If the 38% is strong enough to hold. Because keep in mind, we do have Jackson Hole tomorrow. I think if we come back down below this trend line, it's lights out. This wick, I'm not a fan of the wick. This is a very large wick. It's a very, very large wick. I think maybe these are snapping in place. Maybe like this, somewhere in the half wick perhaps. I'm not the biggest fan of wicks like this, especially when they're large wicks. If they're very short wicks, then I wouldn't mind. But whatever, let's just do it from here. So very good sign for a short that we're breaking this trend line. But that doesn't mean you want to add on to this trade, because you want to see it flush down. You want to see this flush. You don't want to see this trickle down a little bit, because if it trickles down, you get absorption by buyers, and this trickle down could get punched in the face. So we're just waiting. We're coming up on the hour mark here at 12 o'clock, lunchtime. Get a lot of choppiness in lunchtime. I don't like holding my trades at lunchtime. We're still below the trend line. But these trend lines are really arbitrary. I mean, you know, there's an art to drawing trend lines, but you can never be 100% accurate, right? So it's always going to be above, below. If you're hovering on a trend line, you can't really say that you're above it or below it, you know, unless you're really, really above or below the trend line, you know, unless that there's no, you know, unless that nobody can look at this trend line and argue that, well, technically speaking, we're actually above the trend line because we're 1 point above it. No, it's got to be clear as day. Like, you cannot argue with anybody. So right now we're testing the trend line. We're still around the trend line. Because you see the way I drew this trend line, we're still below it. The way I drew this trend line, never mind, we're still below it. Okay, never mind. But yeah, you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. Could this be a dead cat bounce? Could buyers be stubborn? Right? Because if you want to look at this as one major shakeout for sellers, you could also look at it like that way. Okay? Because one thing I love to say is that the moment you buy, you turn into a seller. The moment you sell, you turn into a buyer. Think about it. Think about it. If I bought, I don't want to play around with my orders right now, but let's just do it this way, okay? I will create a bracket order. If I'm buying, or let's just do it this way. If I'm selling, okay, I have, the moment I sell, okay, let's just say, we'll do it this way. Let's just say I'm selling. Let's just say this price gets hit, 55, right? I'm selling. Notice that I have 2 orders on the book. I have 2 buy orders on the book, okay? You can't argue that, right? The moment you sell, in order to get out of your trade, you have to buy, okay? So if I am a seller, what happens the moment I enter a trade? What happens? I have a sell stop and a sell limit, right? One is to stop your trade. This is a buy market order. This is a buy market order. This is a buy limit order, okay? So let's just say I'm selling somewhere down here. I have to make a video about this. Let's just say that I'm a seller somewhere down here. I might have my take profit down here. I might have my stops up here, okay? Notice what happens. The moment, let's just say my sell stop is here, and then price comes whoosh, and then takes me out of the market. Price takes me out of the market. This order is gone. This order by association is also gone, right? So think about everybody else who's short around here. Their sell stops are being taken out of the market. Sorry, their buy stops, right? Because that's a buy order that you're getting stopped out of, right? So their buy orders are getting taken out of the market, right? Which means by association, this order down here that they have their profits are also being taken out. These are buy orders that are being taken out, right? Because they're not buying down here anymore. Let me do it blue. They're not buying down here anymore. They're buying up here. So these orders along the way are all being taken out. So when you shake out everybody, when you shake out all the sellers, okay, you're pretty much shaking out buyers. Because like I said, when you're selling, you're a buyer. When you're a buyer, you're a seller. So these guys are all buying up here. Okay? If these guys are all buying up here because they have to buy, because they have to get out of their trades, because they're offside, who do you think is buying on the way back down? Nobody. Because all these buyers got taken out of their trades. They're out of the game. They're out of the market. They got shaken out. That's by definition a shakeout. So on the way down, what you have new buyers that come up here. You have buyers that come up here. You have buyers that come up here. These are new buyers that are in the markets right now. and then you know that these buyers are out already, right? Those guys who are short, they're out. So when you have new buyers that come in, right? When you're a buyer, you turn into a seller. When you have new buyers that come in, so when you're a seller, you turn into a buyer. I just want to keep, I want to keep my eye on this trade actually because it's quite important. Can we get rejected off of here? Perhaps, but we'll see. It's fine. Where was I? Yeah. So you're a seller. Your original entry was to go short, so you're a seller. Now you turn into a buyer. When you take out these buyers, you're left with more sellers. By convention, you're just left with more sellers, right? Because the new buyers that come in are now sellers. These sellers that were here are out because they've already bought. So these guys are out of their buy trades because they got stopped out. So now you're just left with more sellers because you got new buyers that need to sell to take profit. Okay? And so if you have less buyers and more sellers, what do you think happens? Because who is buying on the way down? Nobody. These guys already got stopped out. They're not buying anymore. They're probably new sellers up here, but who's buying on the way down? Nobody. That's the whole point of when you're a buyer, you become a seller. When you're a seller, you become a buyer. I know I'm kind of like I'm going really quick on this, and I have to make an actual video about it. But it's kind of hard to concentrate when you have a trade that's kind of went in profit, and now you had a massive rejection, and now you're trying to break up higher. So, please bear with me. See, so in terms of a breakout trade, this is not what you want to see if if you're hoping for a breakout to the downside, right? So I'm in a little bit of a trouble because if you're hoping for a breakout to the downside, you want to see a P. I don't see a P. I see volume all over here. That's not what I want to see. A breakout to the upside, however, kind of more of a P shape, right? But it's still not clear. It's not the biggest or the best P shape in the world because you have volume down here, you have volume down here. So technically this could be one big D, right? You have volume all over this. So this is one thing that you should be monitoring at this very moment in time. Change my color here. This area, you should monitor it. What I do? Let's look right here. Can I do a visible profile? I think so. Let me see. Yeah, I can draw a volume profile from here to here. Whatever, I need to fix this volume profile. But if you see, like the most volume is built around here, right? So let's just kind of take that into consideration. Actually, I'd be interested in drawing, or I'd be interested in interesting. I would be very interested in changing some settings around so that when I draw a profile, it will show me the value area high, value area low, and the point of control within this profile. So kind of think of it as a profile within a profile. Because right now what I do, how do I remove this? Can I remove this? How the hell do I remove this? Erase ultra volume profile, okay. Because right now what I do is I'll just create a rectangle. And I would always consider the midpoint to be the point of control. But I think I could benefit a lot from drawing a volume profile within the volume profile. Just to know where all of the volume is concentrated within a rotation. That'd be quite good. I think I should do that. So you'll notice how the midpoint became support. I don't like that. You'll notice how we didn't even break 1318. But we're still within this range, so we don't need to worry too much. We're still technically below this trend line, although we didn't see this pop down on the trend line, so I don't think this is an actual good trend line. I think maybe you could look at this trend line here. No. But I want to know if this bounce over here, I'm going to remove this trend line because I don't like it anymore. It's not very good. I wonder if this bounce over here is enough to bring this higher. But just look at the move. It requires a lot of energy to go higher. Very possible though. Very, 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 very possible. But just if you think about it as sort of like a weight, right? I don't know, let's just say like you're throwing like some dumbbells in the air or some heavy sack in the air, right? You go up like this, and then you're coming down with force. Boom. Boom. You know? Whereas if it was more like this, like say you had a trend line, say if it felt like it was coming like this, boom, 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 you know? I would say okay. But when you're going like, you're going high up in the air, right? You know, the higher you go, the harder you fall, right? So it goes all the way down. It's like if we went like this, okay. But the fact is we just went like this. You know? But we'll see. We will see. We will see. Monitoring this breakout level over here, depending on how we break out as well, right? If I see a P shape, then I got to get out of that trade because I don't want to see volume develop outside of this zone. So if I'm a buyer here, I don't want to buy right now because of the fact that this volume profile doesn't look very enticing to me. Depends on how it develops. It really depends on how it develops. Slight P, and then you go like this, but then you got rejected real quick. So if we start building volume around here, then I will get a bit worried. But if we come back down here and we start building volume, then I think I'm fine. And this is you got to be wary. I mean, this is lunchtime, so you got to expect these types of effery. Some volume building, but we do seem to be building some volume lower than this point rather than above it. But there's some absorption here at highs by buyers actually, right? Because you have all this heavy selling, but price won't come down, which means buyers are bringing their limit orders up. I don't like to see that too much. But if we come curl back down, then it can be dangerous for buyers. Because it's like, well, if you're putting your limit orders up here, why are we trading down here? You see? Could there be maybe that there's just not enough limit orders? So now you want to see some volume build up here, curl back down. You want to see this get rejected. Like I said, this could be one big trap for buyers. Or it could be a big trap for sellers. I mean, you know, I could be the sucker here. Who knows? Right? But there's a 50% chance that I'm not the sucker. Again, like if you want to buy, you need to know where you're wrong. If you want to sell, you need to know where you're wrong. My mistake was that I probably got in too early at the midpoint. But by then, I was thinking this was technically, this was the consolidation zone that I was looking at anyway. I think it was around like this, maybe. Oh, it was this. This was the zone that I was looking at. And I said, you don't want to go above 34. But we went above 34 and we rejected. So cut me some slack. Although I could have, yeah. Maybe what I could have done is I could have waited for the structure to play out. And then I could have, but then again, I would have got him back in at 36 anyway. See, so now we created a new structure if you think about it. We created a new rotation zone, and this is a higher rotation zone. Let me bring this in. Yeah, this is a higher rotation zone. Right, this first box here can be seen as one rotation zone, and then this could be seen as another rotation zone, and this rotation zone is higher than this. You could see that as bullish, for sure. You could see that as bullish. But you want to tell me that this isn't bearish? You know, bit of bullishness in some bearishness in a bigger bullishness. But the more time we spend above the initial balance, the more nervous I start to become, simply because if we break the initial balance, right, probability wise, we should have gone down to the IB low. I think so. Here's where it can get tricky. Maybe we retest this trend line again. Maybe we retest the initial balance again. But like I said, the fact that the POC is up here, I think we need to manage this trade where we can either take a bit of profit, but we cannot expect this trade to go back down to the IB low right now. I think if we had bounced off of here and came down right away, then I would have said, yeah, we're quite bearish. But the more time that we spend up here creating these boxes, these zones, right? We got one box and another box above it. I think if this doesn't come down fast and heavy, then I should get out of this trade, you know, at some level of profit. I do think that there is a bearish move to this. That's possible. But I don't know if I should be holding the same expectations as I was before, in the sense that my expectations were that we would test this area. But now the more time that we spend up here, I don't know the probability of us going back down. I think those expectations have kind of tapered off a little bit for me. So I try to be as flexible as I possibly can. So can we retest this? If we retest this, I have to get out, I think. Maybe get in at a better price if I still want to, or maybe I should just go long. Something about it. There's just something about it. I do like this rejection, though. I do like this volume building, though, you know? I really do. I like the fact that we're creating a bigger, fatter profile on the way down rather than on the way up. We left behind a massive selling tail over here, if you think about it, right? We tried to create value, and then we couldn't, and we came right back in within value, creating a bigger selling tail than a buying tail, right? If you look at the value area low, a lot of things, a lot of nuances to this move. So now this is interesting because of the speed in which we're coming in. It's interesting. I want to see, this is the type of breakout that I want to see, guys. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I want to see a ledge be created here and some volume. I don't want to see this come back up. At the very least, this should be the last point, 32. I don't want to see this come back up here. I don't want to see it come back up fast. It'll stress me out, and I think that wouldn't be the good trade. I want to see us come down, build some volume, maybe even build volume like this, like a massive amount of volume, and then continue lower. Because one thing's for sure is there's one side sweating right now. Sure as hell ain't me. Come on, build a ledge. Don't build volume. Don't build volume. Build a fucking ledge, man. Maybe a bounce and then come off. I don't know. Whatever it is, though, I hope you guys are learning from this. And the way I manage these trades, I might not always be the best. I don't claim to be. I don't claim to be perfect. But this is how I manage these trades. I don't like the structure. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't like it. I want more volume here. A lot more volume than this. Because now you have 333 contracts. You have 372 contracts up here. You have 284 contracts up here. I want to see hundreds all across the board. Or even less than hundreds. Maybe a bit of 150, whatever. But I want to see 150 and less. And then 300 to 400, 500 plus contracts over here. That's what I want to see. Not because I always want to see 500, but I want to see more contracts relative to the way down. That's it. I want to see more contracts down here relative to the contracts that were being transacted on the way down. So this is what I like to see. I like to see this volume build up, and I don't want to see us come back above 26s over here. I just don't. Why 26s? Fuck, I don't know. It's not an accurate thing. I just don't like to see it come above here because of experience. Like this is the lowest point of contracts, so this could be considered as your as the ceiling of this move, if you will. Right here. This not the best sign because you curl back down and you only have 29 contracts traded, 90 contracts traded. You don't want to see that. You want to see more volume. What you want to see is you want to see this come down and then create another low volume zone. So this is a good sign and it's not a good sign. This is a good sign if you stay around it. This is not a good sign if you come back up here. Because this will tell me that we tried to go lower and there was just no interest. There was no interest. There was no fuel. There was nothing that would bring it back up here. It is called the low volume node. But it's not the lowest of volume nodes. I mean, it's like, it's low volume node-ish, lowish volume node, you know? I think this would be the final point where you'd say, okay, you don't want this trading around here, around 13033, because of the 31 contracts, right? But this is fine. This is relatively fine right here. But if you want to take some profit, then you do want to get out somewhere around here. Like you don't want to see this come back up, fuck. Because you don't want to see these guys start buying again because their trades didn't work out. Right? These sellers down here, you don't want to see them buy again because their trades didn't work out, because then it can create more fuel to the upside. Not that it will, but that it can. So notice that, like, it's hilarious because notice that like I created two boxes or two zones of rotations. This one bigger zone, and then we started establishing another zone of rotation above it. And notice how when we broke this one, we stopped at the midpoint of the one below it. So I want to see us break this midpoint and test 13K. If we break this midpoint, then we have a very good probability of the initial balance low being tested. But I don't like the fact that this IB high acted as support now for a second time. We're at value area, but also within this value area there's this low volume node here. So price came down. This low volume node rejected because we don't want to transact here in this low volume node. And we come back down. So either we come and we start to trade like this, we fill this gap of volume, and then we continue lower. That's possible. Or what happens now is that we came back down, we got rejected, and now we're trying to push higher. But it depends. We just need to wait it out and see. You see, this is where we kind of stopped around my last line in the sand, 31s right here. Not 31s, but like 33s at this 31 contract area on this rotation. Fucking pain in my ass, dude. I just want Nasdaq to come off. It could be seen as a dead cat bounce if you think about it from here, like whoop, whoop. This trend line right here is being tested, right? We have a lot of buyers on this trend line. I think I'm gonna scratch this trade. If it reaches my price, my entry at 34, I'm gonna scratch this trade. I don't wanna see this come down, make an attempt, and then just shoot back up. I might enter this trade again if I see some signs that I could short, but I spent a significant amount of time offside, right? I saw my trade go all the way up to 53s. Now went back down, and now you're telling me if I get a chance to scratch this trade, I think I'll do it. I think I'll do it. Because I think what happens is if we hit 34s, 33s, we're gonna shoot up. So I'd rather put my stop here at scratch, because I think if we start touching this area, it's gonna shoot up. It could shoot up and come back down, but it could also shoot up and continue to shoot up higher. So I just want to manage this trade. So now what we're doing is we're building a ledge or a floor of volume, like a B. But it's not the cleanest of B because you still have a bit of volume here. You have some volume here, so it's not the cleanest of Bs. This is not a clean breakout, if I'm being quite honest. But all things considering, if you're looking at the ceiling of this B shape, would be around 32. So I'll just put my stop here at scratch. Because you start to break this higher, the probability of us going higher is as well. It's higher, So let's come back down here. Let's go curl back below 2019, right here, these two levels. We start to curl back below it. I think we can continue down. I think we got a lot of trapped buyers. If we do that, if you go back below here, you'll get a lot of trapped buyers. You got these guys over here as well that might start to want to scratch their trades. We come back down below, we can easily break 13K again. So let's do that. This is a low volume down bar right now If we come back above here, it's lights out for shorts. Let's take a look at the number of contracts traded and see. So it's quite neutral in terms of delta, I would say. See, now you get buying up here. $10 contracts, 18, 19, 20. See, from 14 to 0, we sold and we came right back. Do this. Minus 23. Funny how we bid up and we got aggressive selling as we bid up. See, from minus 23 to minus 4. There's buying here. Yeah, there's buying here. 52, 53, 22, 31, 53, 55. Minus 2, 6, minus 4, minus 3, minus 6, minus 11, minus 16 for minus 11. Notice you have a lot more buying than selling. See, from minus 16 to 9 to 23, 23, 12. Like, there's a lot more buying up here. It's okay. If I get stopped out, I'm fine with that. Whatever. Yeah, that's fine. I don't want to get caught on the wrong side of this. Midpoint could act as a sort of resistance, but fuck it, I don't want to take my chances. You have 21, 13, 21, 20. Selling coming in. Selling coming in, but we bid up. We're filling up this little gap here. We're filling up this low volume area over here. Either we fill it, we reject, or we fill it, we go higher. Did you trade your micros today, Jefe? Here, this one, the first break or the second? Oh, nice. So I want to see how much lower we can go. This was like a quick test trade because we talked about this yesterday. We talked about profiles like this. The wider P with like a failed breakout. It's like a failed, to the upside. So you want to short this, you put your stop up here, and then you go back down. That was the reasoning of why I entered this trade. If we retest it again, I don't like it. So technically we can create a ledge here above 31s. I don't want my 36s to test again. Yeah, I want to see this capitulate right now. Unfortunate because I had much larger size on my first trade. But I could potentially add on to this if we break 15s. But whatever, we'll see. Now with laser focus. See, there's no buying right now. It's like bids are being pulled because they're not really getting filled. Okay, 7, 8. You have a bit of buying, but it's not enough to push it higher, which means sellers are bringing their limit orders down. 10, okay, 11. That's one. That's two contracts. A bit of buying, but like a lot of it is being absorbed by sellers. By a lot of it, I don't mean crazy amounts. I just mean one or two contracts. So some aggressive selling. 10 contracts just got absorbed by buyers. Absorption by sellers. $44, $45. A bit of absorption by sellers, but not enough to bring it higher right now. 51, 18. Okay, we just jumped like 2, 3 prices. Fuck. Good entry. It was a good entry, man. I just wanted this to go down. So negative number just means aggressive selling. It's just a market order. It's a market sell order onto a bid. So you're hitting the bid. Positive number means you're lifting the offer. Dude, did I just get shaken out? Are you serious? Kind of. This is the box. This is the zone right here. Yeah. So between this and this, these two midpoints, fuck. Right here. This and this. Between the blue and the yellow. I would make a great scalper for entries, but not for exits, because my entries like are pretty decent, but my exits I hold on because I hold on for the larger moves. So I get stopped out a lot because I put my like I entered over here earlier, right? This was my entry, and I wanted this move to break, but it never broke. You know, and so instead of like getting out here, I just got out at scratch. So like the analysis and the price action analysis I do to enter my trades I think are pretty decent. But then it's like fuck, like these should break. This fucking thing, it should break, and if it breaks, it's gonna break hard. Like I'm getting chopped up right now on lunchtime volume. I'm getting dicked around hard. Fucking midpoint again. Let's go break this midpoint. We break this midpoint, we can easily hit 13K. We haven't broken the midpoint yet at all. We've always bounced off of it. But what I like this time around, you had low volume here, and now you have more volume here. You know? So I like it this time around. But I swear, if this comes back up, I'm gonna smash something. No, I'm kidding, I won't. I don't let emotions get the best of me. That's just joking. But come on. Uh, at the very least, bounce off of this rotation low. But no. Too much to ask. It's too much to ask, isn't it? Well, it's a it's a pretty quick rejection. Okay, I like it. I like it. Can we come back down here and retest? Do we find some differences or similarities? Volume and then volume up. A bit of volume and then no volume up. You know? Could this be the move back down? Yeah, I guess. But like, I don't know. 2 contracts is really little. I guess I could take some off here, right? And then wait the rest for lower. I would typically do that if I'm trading larger size. But for 2 contracts, like, fuck, I don't know. Yeah, dude. I'm glad you've noticed. I've noticed that too. This looks very similar to this. Volume, volume, no volume. Volume, volume, no volume. But I just like the fact that we actually tested lower here on higher volume than we did over here. That's okay. I took profits off of this. I'm out. Almost all in, all out. Because I figured that if we start breaking this, I can just market it in anyway. If I find the right opportunity, I can mark it in. I think, some of the best success that I've had was quick in, quick out. Quick in, quick out, but it fucks up with my mentality when you're quick in and you're quick out, but then you see the trade just go like another 30 points below. So then it starts to fuck with my mentality in the sense that, was my exit analysis wrong? You know? So then I start to hold trades for longer. Oh, I like this rejection. You see? Quick in, quick out, and now look, markets come down, right? So it starts to fuck with my head. Yeah. Oh my god, I love it. I love it. Oh, it happens, dude. It happens. It's okay. Oh, that's amazing. I don't want to buy here. I don't want to sell here though, because this would have been my final exit anyway. So it's like, what's the point of selling here? Maybe wait for a pullback, or wait for. So here's okay. We'll do this together. Wait for a ledge. Let's wait for a B shape. We establish a ledge. We might not get a lot of consolidation here, by the way. We might not get a lot of consolidation here, so this might be a quick move down. Seems to me like this could be the top of the ledge unless we start building volume at 08s. Come back down. Yep, whipped up on high volume. Significant break of the IB though. I think ES, so ES is still below its IB. We just need to be careful that like guys don't get caught with their pants down. This could actually reverse full time because of this fat profile here. We built the volume back here. Can I get filled? Pick up my price and go. Pick up my price and go. I don't want this coming back down over here. I think we watch out this midpoint, 33. We go above 33. Sorry, this midpoint here, 39. There seems to be volume, like, there seems to be orders coming back into the market now. I don't want to see this chop. I want to see this go straight. I want to see these sellers exit. I want to see these sellers scratch because of the way that the market came back. Because if you think that these guys, if you're thinking that maybe these guys didn't take profit over here, they're definitely taking profit now or they're scratching their trades. So that's what I'm kind of banking on because of this type of aggressive move like this. It's like the more time we spend without really making higher highs, the worse it becomes. So it's like, shit, you know? We got to make higher highs off of here. Let's go. Come on, come on, come on. Above 27s. Let's go. Yeah, yeah, I'm in Eastern. This might dip before it goes. If it does want to go, this might dip before it goes. Ugh, it's just not my day. Still, $500 today is not too bad. Yeah, I'm in Q only. I like the volatility of Nasdaq, but I can't trade the full contracts on these funded programs. Maybe I can trade ES, but I'm just not used to the lack of volatility in ES. It moves too slow for me. Should have picked me up. Yeah, but you don't want to move your stop loss though. Like you could, but you don't want to. Too tight. No, these trades aren't working out. I think I'm gonna call it a day. I think when I get stopped out and I see price go up, and then I get stopped out again and I see price continue go up, I think it's a sign that I should call it a day. Although this looks really nice. This looks really, really nice. This setup right here. I think this could be fuck me. I was too late on that. I was too late on that. Fuck me. I was about to market. I was about to limit in, and I didn't want to chase. I just scratched that trade. I think retest of 2029s. Very funny how it's between this trend line and this trend line that you got that as well. That's obviously view up as well, but still. All right, take it easy, man. Thanks for joining. that's it for me. You know, it's just not your day when your stops keep getting hit. Take it easy, guys. I'll see you all tomorrow.